Hey guys, Tarke here, and I want to give a second update for my Legacy League start. We did do Ice Shot the first time round, we ripped, and we rolled Ice Shot again, and I have to say this character is turning into an awful lot of fun. I'll do a quick Dried Lake to give you a rough idea of how it plays, and it's been pretty good. Now the characters are only level 80, and this isn't me going, oh look how good the character is, it's just kind of showing you, look how cool it looks. The main thing I like about this character is it just looks fucking awesome. I was really paranoid that this character wasn't going to work, but the more currency I invest into it, and by that I mean the more I actually get to run links in my gear and get levels and get ascendancy points, it's so fucking satisfying. Now, this is not the best build in the world. This is still Ice Shot after all. You need to take that into account. It's good for what it is. It works. Is it better than Poison? No. Am I going to try and make it work? Yes. So if you want to play this character alongside with me, be aware that this is constantly changing on a day-to-day basis. I am changing my skills a lot. I'm changing my single target a lot. I'm going to try and make this CI as soon as I physically can, because I don't like the defenses that life has available to them. So yeah, if you want a guide, just be aware that this might change, so stay tuned to YouTube over the coming days. I will keep doing daily videos on it. Now, what gives me the crazy clear speed? I am a raider using Rotgut. Rotgut got some pretty nice buffs. Every time I use it, it consumes my frenzy charges. I currently only have 4, and gives me onslaught for 2 seconds per frenzy charge. It also has a bunch of movement speed built into it. And yeah, that basically means that I get to run around really, really quickly. Now, when you come to doing like actual scary boss content, you're probably going to drop this from normal Quicksilver. But for farming easy maps, it is really nice for speed clearing. I'll quickly go over the gear I have. I'll then talk about my links and my tree. But if you want to be very quick, here's my 4-link setup. And I'm doing a 4-link for AoE and a 5-link for single target. So Flask first. Rotgut is already covered. It's a 2-use Quicksilver with reduced flask charges on gear, belt, maybe on the skill tree if you change your reading slightly. You can get down to 2 uses. Has 50% chance to gain a flask charge when you crit. We're a crit build, so it's nearly always just spam rolling, spam rolling, spam rolling. Diamond Flask, to get diamond, we need to crit. We need a Diamond Flask. Ideally, you'd have one with bleed removal because of our ascendancy. We have status element immunity, but we haven't got bleed removal. So if you have bleed removal on your Diamond Flask is always active, then you're PogChamp. We use a Wise Oak. I used this the first time round. It was PogChamp. I died. Use it again. I did make a video saying this was pretty OP. Apparently, Pox has also made a video saying this is pretty OP. So the price of these will probably go up. I think it's pretty good. What it does is during Flask effect, 10% reduced damage taken of each element for which your uncapped Elia res is the lowest. This is exactly the same as the Breach mechanic. So with all the old Breach items, it's just whatever your total resistance is, whatever's the lowest, you take 10% reduced damage to. Whatever's the highest, you get 20% pen. So my highest resist at the moment is cold. So while my Flask is active, I get 20% cold pen. Now, if I manage to get my fire and my cold to match, and they were the 2 highest, I would then get 20% fire and cold. If all 3 match, you'd get 10% damage reduction to all 3 and the pen to all 3. So ideally, you fuck with your gear a little bit to make sure that you're getting the most use out of it. If you're purely 1 damage type, then you want that to be your highest and your other 2 to be the same lowest to get the most mitigation. But it's basically just a pretty nice flask. We're running 2 Divine Life Flasks. We will eventually replace one of them for a Forbidden Taste. Forbidden Taste now has 2 uses. I was raving about this flask last league. I still think this is fucking insane. And it can go up to 100% heal. So you press it, it's a 100% heal, in this case a 98%, but I mean, who's going to be on 2% heal? And you then take a Chaos degen. You try and get some Chaos res. I haven't got enough at the moment, which is why I'm not running it. You get like positive Chaos res. You don't need to be capped, but like positive 10, positive 20, have a little bit of regen, and you're A-okay. Because we're a raider, we get our frenzy charges on hit and on kill. We don't need to run Blood Rage. We have positive regen. This is PogChamp. Once you have this, you run just the 1 Life Flask. And this becomes any flask you want here. You could have It's Series Promise. You could have a Taste of Hate. You could have whatever. Just go with whatever you like. Now, let's get into the gear. So the core gear pieces as of right now is the Rimburn. So Rimburn, it's a Prophecy upgraded item. It gives us 50% of our Fizz damage converted to cold. And your cold damage can ignite. Now, this means that our cold damage actually has potential for single target because when we crit, we freeze and we ignite. So, big scary single target case, we're doing ignites. We still have a good mechanic. We don't need to convert our cold over to fire. We still get the benefits of freezing and shattering mobs. Basically, really nice. This also has the 50% conversion built in. meaning we don't need to take these 3 nodes on the tree. Even though they are very nice DPS nodes, we don't have to take them. It means we save points. Since they've added all of these amazing wedge scaling nodes to the tree, you had like most bow builds were already starved on damage versus life. Like there's so much good damage, now there's even more good damage. You need to be as point efficient as possible. So that's why I'm rocking these. And also if you decide that you want to do other setups, so like have a barrage single target, these plus Fizz to Lightning or these plus a Signal Fire gives your barrage 100% elemental. So I highly recommend these. You can also use these plus the conversion on the tree to get 90% conversion on your barrage, then use a Corrupted Quiver to get the remainder. Thank you for the follow that guy. So the next item is a Diaden Dawn. Diaden Dawn has gotten a lot of love recently. It got the leech on it changed to generic leech, and the burns got buffed up. So based off, it's a heavy belt, so it gives you strength. Strength is nice. We need strength in this build. Decent life roll. Res, it goes up to 40-40. This is just the best I could get at the time. So decent life, decent resist. 1% of attack damage leeches life against chilled enemies. Eyeshot always chills. We always get 1% attack damage. Leeched, pretty good. And then enemies ignited by attack burn 35% faster. This is basically a more multiplier. So this is, you can see this is like 35% more damage and deal no physical damage. We're 100% conversion, so it doesn't matter. Now, if you are using this with a barrage setup or something else, make sure it's fully converted, otherwise you'll be wasting damage. But this plus this gives a single target. Seems good. Otherwise, I'm just using a Lionized Glare. It was a 2 Chaos Bow, and it's just in case it has good Fizz damage. It does a lot of damage. Hits can't evade. This is what carrying my damage. Everything else is just sort of random rares. This is just a 1 Chaos 5-link Assassin's Garb I got. I threw probably about 5 Chaos into it, ended up with this. It's not amazing, but it fixed my resists, and I got to craft life onto it. 1 Diamond Ring, it fixed my resists. Again, Amulet fixed my resists, and has some nice damage on it. Whatever boots. And a Star Conjurer's Head. Star Conjurer's Head is really nice now. I actually used to use it a lot before. I thought it was a really good item before. But now it has a lot more evasion built into it. And that just makes it even better. It went from being like 300 to now perfect rolled one is like 700 or 800. So it's just like PogChamp. And it got even more decks. It gives you crit chance, it gives you attack speed, it gives you a lot of life. I would highly recommend going for 2 stone boots just to get easy catch resistances early on. But that's that. Now, what has made the whole Ice Shot Dream real? The Ice Shot Drill has been made real by Omen on the Winds, which is a new threshold jewel. So as you can see, it gives you 15% increased damage against chilled enemies. We always chill, so our second hit has the increased damage on it. With at least 40 dexterity in radius. Doesn't need to be allocated, just needs to be in the radius. So you can see all of these little nodes count towards it. Gives it 25% increased AoE and 50% chance to pierce. If you run 2 of them, you have 100% pierce. And you have 50% increased AoE, and you have up to 40% increased damage against chilled enemies. Now, I don't actually recommend that you use 2, and this sounds crazy. So first off, people say, well, why use it at all? You want Pierce. Pierce is a more multi. There are so many good links available to Ice Shot that there are better more multis available. So not needing to run the Pierce gem means you can use better gems. Having to get Pierce on the tree means you're having to spend 3 points. And again, there are so many points that you can get now on the tree, which are a PogChamp. Saving 3 points means you can invest them in more efficient damage nodes. You can invest them into life. You can invest them into other jewels. It's good not having to spend it. One other important thing to note is I actually don't like these threshold jewels because they are jewels. A lot of life-based builds are reliant on getting their jewels to get their life up, because jewels can be 7% maximum life and then like 2 to 3 damage rolls. Now, if you have perfect jewels, if you have like a GG life double stat damage stat or triple stat damage stat, I'd recommend use one of these jewels and then 1 life jewel, right? So one of these gives you the 50% pierce. Use this, then the pierce gem. It saves you 3 points on the tree. Feels good, man. The AoE does help with your clear, but it's not needed. It helps, but it's not needed. You would benefit more from having the life, in my personal opinion. If you're CI, no issue running 2 of these. You're absolutely fine because CI is a balanced mechanic. Why did we decide to go Raider? As previously mentioned, I wanted to use the Forbidden Taste because it's 100% heal, which is pretty PogChamp. Getting the Way of the Poacher gives us Frenzy Charge on kill and Frenzy Charge on hit against rares or unique enemies, meaning we don't need to run Blood Rage. It makes our life a lot easier. It means if you do want to go Varpact, I personally don't like playing Varpact on life builds, but if you do want to go Varpact, it makes life a lot easier, not need to worry about Blood Rage. It basically is the quality of life ascendancy. you get some chance to dodge, which synergizes with our previous dodge. Phasing will up maximum frenzy charges. Phasing when we have Onslaught. Another good thing about this is not only does it give us a Quicksilver, an Onslaught flask, it also gives us phasing, because Onslaught gives us phasing. A POP flask. Game phasing on kill, etc. Evasion movement speed. Increased LE damage. We're all LE damage. This obviously scales off damage. Pretty good. Increased movement speed while phasing. Immune to status elements while phasing. Spell dodge while phasing. This gives us some mitigation, which is nice through the, well, pseudo mitigation through the dodge and spell dodge. The immune to status elements is huge. Get this as your crawl. So get this in normal, this in crawl, and this in merciless. The reason being, especially in the start of league, you don't have much currency. So you don't have much currency to buy flasks or alterations to roll flasks. Having this means you don't need to worry about rolling loads of flasks with like freeze removal, shock removal, whatever. Get this early, good time. You should be really greedy with unique flasks. Very important for life, very important for CI, really good. Get this in Merciless, and this is a huge DPS increase, and then eventually get this from Ublab, which gives you even more movement speed, even more attack speed, another frenzy charge, and more damage. Basically, damage, damage, damage. The other really good option for this is Pathfinder. Pathfinder is just overpowered, I don't need to talk about it. Pick between the two. I like this because it's good off the bat. Pathfinder will be better with more investment. So as for the tree, what does it look like? I'll bring it up in Path of Building. This is what I'm currently working with at 109 points. We have 186% life in the tree. Ignore the life. You can see I haven't got any gear equipped. So 186 life in the tree, 2 jewels, all the frenzy charges, all the like efficient LE damage stuff, phase acro, and the crit stuff. If you want to cut phase acro, because you're a softcore player, you can. If you're a hardcore player, do not cut phase acro. It's really, really good. If you are going to cut it, just don't tell me about it. It's really fucking bonkers. I make a point of getting this life because I feel squishy. I feel squishy with less than 200% life, and as previously mentioned, we're missing out life on these 2 jewels, so I feel squishy, squishy, squishy. This is why I want to try and convert this into a CI build, so I actually feel safe playing the character. It's one of the really annoying things about playing right side of the tree bow builds is, unless you have really good rares everywhere, you just susceptible to that random one-shot. For softcore, this is an amazing build. For hardcore, you need to have very good gear to avoid the random one-shot. Because of that, I'm trying to mess with my single target. So I want to ideally run a Combs Heart, because with a Combs Heart, I can get 7k life pretty easily. Having 7k life is a lot safer than having like 5 to 6k life, for obvious reasons. So because of that, I'm unsure on what bow I want to use. If I use a Death's Opus, I get +2 proj. If I have a Corrupted Quiver, I get another +1 proj. So having 4 projectiles with the 50% increased AoE would be enough for AoE clear, meaning I don't need to run GMP on my ice shot, meaning I could have just one setup for both AoE and single target, rather than right now I have the single target ice shot and the AoE ice shot, meaning I could drop the chest and run a Combs. Now that requires a Death's Opus, they're very expensive right now, and it requires some form of quiver. For quivers you have a few options. I'm just using this rare for now. In a perfect world where you have a max roll spike point with crit, wed, crit again, crit multi, and like 100 life, it will outperform a drill neck. Barely though. You need a very good rare quiver to outperform a drill neck. The good thing about drill necks though is they're fairly cheap, they're accessible, and you can easily corrupt them. Whereas you're not going to go out of your way corrupting rare quivers because the rare quivers are reliant on that implicit crit chance to pull ahead of the drill neck because double dipping is OP, OP, OP. Another small interaction you can do, and something I'm tempted to try out, but I'm not sure I'm going to fit in life, and again, this is why life becomes an issue, is Maloney's Nightfall. So Maloney's is technically a better drill neck if you can meet the requirements. So it has stun duration implicit, not that great. This is just begging to be corrupted for the +1 arrows. Attack speed, it goes up to 70 life, so it has more life on it than a drill neck, which is obviously huge. It has Chaos Res, which helps with the Forbidden Taste. It has less Flap Fizz, but the other stuff makes up for it in my opinion. Chance to create a smoke cloud when hit. This combined with a Stibnite gives you very good blind constantly going off. Then up to 60% increased damage against blinded enemies. So if you're playing in melee range, you drop a Stibnite and you get this active. Well, that doesn't seem that great, right? Because you need to be in melee. Well, you can combo it with this amulet, which again is why I'm kind of annoyed that my life is low. The Halcyon. The Pandemonium, which is the upgraded Halcyon. So the Pandemonius is really interesting in this build. So it gives you Dex, asking to be corrupted for +1 curse or something. So increased cold damage, cold resistance, chill enemies for 1 second when hit. This is kind of wasted because we have chill, but blind chilled enemies on hit. Damage penetrates 20% res against chilled enemies. Now, if you're doing a pure ignite-based build, then the cold pen becomes less important. But if you're more focused on the cold, not so much on the ignite, then this potentially becomes very powerful. So you have this amulet equipped. It gives you 20% pen, it gives you cold scaling, and it gives you blind. And this will always activate the Malonies, right? So there's very good cross synergy between these two items. The problem being is there are like 2 or 3 items like this which are really powerful, but you can't really afford to run more than one item without life on it, as a right side of the tree bow build in the current state. So that's why I'm kind of iffy about the build. There's a lot of things I want to try, there's a lot of things I will change, so please do stay tuned. But for now, I'm Tarke. This is an amazing set of MTX. Let me just quickly go over the MTX guide, because the MTX guide is very important. So by being a raider, we get phasing. And because of the phasing, we get to look like a snow globe. It is beautiful. Just find a pack. Isn't that just the most beautiful thing you've ever seen? It's so beautiful someone followed, and I'm not even streaming right now. So to achieve this effect, you need to have a very powerful credit card or very weak self-control. I fall into the latter category. You want the Arctic character effect on your belt. The Hydra set is perfect if you have it, matched with the vintage Pilgrim hat, no longer available. I think it was circa 2015, might even be older than that, just to give it a little bit of classic swag. And then Hydra, gloves, and boots. To finish, you can use whatever weapon effect you want, and then you want to make it pop with some really nice juicy pets. But yeah, I'm Tarke. That's a cat behind my head. That's a fiery fox. This is a pleb-looking ranger. This is a good-looking ranger. Have a good day. Bye-bye.